feels like quite enough of that. Guys, how you doing? It's Monday. We're doing the thing we do on Mondays, which is hang out and talk about the guitar. My name's Nick Jennison. Welcome on board. This is the Monday Guitar Show, brought to you by CRE Guitars. Don't look at this headstock. All will be explained in the fullness of time. Want to welcome you guys on board. Thank you so much for coming and joining us. Today we are discussing what is in my gig bag. Specifically, what is in this gig bag, because as the description would suggest, and the palm trees in our carefully crafted thumbnail, shout out to Stu Shields, would suggest, I'm traveling and I'm going away for a run of European dates over the summer, starting with Courts of Chaos, which is this coming weekend in the Brittany region of France. It's going to be a lot of fun, really cool gig, very, very heavy metal. I'm out with Blitzkrieg, doing the heavy metal thing, playing the heavy metal, which is why we're playing all the heavy metal notes in the intro. So yeah, if you're wondering where that heavy shred came from, or that neoclassical shred came from, that's kind of where we were going with this. So I've got heavy metal on the brain. We are going to be playing some heavy metal today, but I'm not going to be playing this guitar for too much longer, because I want to talk to you about what is going on with my flying rig, maybe give you some inspirations for your own flying stuff. Of course, I am also here in the jorts because it's hot. It is really, really warm today. It would be rude not to go and get some air on the calves, so to speak. So anyway, listen, if you're new here, hi, welcome on board. It's great to have you. We do this every Monday. We hang out and talk about the guitar. We are live on the Lick Library YouTube channel and the Guitar Interactive YouTube channel. All of these streams live on our YouTube channel, so if you have missed one, you want to check out what we get up to every Monday, you can go and check those out. Give us a subscribe while you're there. Also, don't forget to like and comment on the video. Share it with your guitar playing friends. We love comments, specifically if you have questions. If you got questions, we shall endeavour to give you answers. So if you have a question, if you're watching live, comment down below. We'd love to hear from you. So depending on what you want to hear, what you want to talk about, I am all ears. If you've got playing related questions, we can talk about that. If you have gear related questions, we can talk about that. You name it, right? We can talk about all sorts of guitar related stuff, but we are specifically focused on the traveling with your guitar kind of business, which is where our friends from CRE Guitars come in, because this backpack contains within it a CRE guitar. Now this guitar, this Paul Reed Smith guitar, is going away. I'm putting it away because we're not going to talk too much more about this today. This guitar is coming away with me, but so is the guitar that is contained within this backpack. I'm going to talk to you more about that as we go. But before we do, let's say some hellos to folks in the stream and see how everyone's getting on. Let's see who's in the house. Our first viewer, I believe our first comment was Marcin, but the first comment I'm seeing is from Response Audio, who says, "Hey Nick, hey Marcin, hi guys, hope you're all having a great Monday." I'm having a really great Monday. I have caught a little bit of a tan. It's been really nice. Had a thoroughly lovely time. Been in the gym this morning. It's just been a lovely chill day, which of course inevitably means I have kicked several of my responsibilities to later in the week, when I'll have a bit more time to do them. Well, I won't have more time to do them. I'll make time to do them, but I won't be sitting in the sun. So sat in the sun, in my garden, playing the guitar. Been a good day. Pretty good. So let me know if you guys have caught some sun today, if you've been in the UK. It would be, yeah, great to hear from you. So hey, PJ says, "Hey Nick, hey Response Audio, and all great to be here again. It's great to have you here again." Marcin says, "Great to be watching live. Good to see you." Larry Warren says, "Pack all your troubles in an old gig bag and play. That is very much the spirit of today's stream. Can confirm." Who else do we have? We have Sacred Godslayer in the house. I don't think we're going to be in Italy this summer. I think we have Spain, we have Greece, Belgium. I know we have France coming up. I don't know if we have any Italian shows. That's a shame, because I love it in Italy, and it would be great to get across there, maybe see you there, Sacred Godslayer. Who knows? Maybe next year. Mark Crandall says, "Hey guys, hey Nick, best thing about Mondays, the Monday Guitar Show with Nick Jennison." It's my favourite thing about Mondays too. Mondays, historically not the most fun day, but I have a lot of fun on Mondays because we get to hang out and talk about the guitar. Kate Strange is in the house. Crankatom is tuning in from Germany. Cowcat is in the house. Block 18 is here. Hope all's good in your world. All's good in my world, let me tell you. Crankatom is saying, with a gear question, "Are there any must-have IRs around for his new Head Rush pedalboard?" I'm going to start this up because my pal Alan, who is my co-guitar player in Blitzkrieg, he is a Head Rush guy. I'm a Quad Cortex guy. It's Pt.2, right? These are all great sounding bits of kit. We'll talk about IRs as we go, but if you guys have suggestions for IRs, drop them down in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. So we're going to answer that later on. Really, really good question. I have a few favorites. I'll scroll through a few of mine on my studio rig, and I'll show you what's going on. Marcine says, my favorite backing track. My favorite backing track too. I like that. I like this one a lot. Transparent says, evening from Denmark with a cup of coffee. The Danish do good coffee. It's good to see you. Thanks for coming aboard. Who else do we have? Timothy Appling is here. Just made it home from Miami and had another package from Sweetwater with pedal goodness in it for my pedalboard I'm assembling. Don't keep us hanging. Let us know what's in there, right? You can't just say that and just say, oh, well, I got a pedal. We need to know what pedal it is, right? Let us know, and let us know what else is in your pedal, Timothy. We would love to hear from you. Who else do we have? Mike Seedorf is in the house. Block 18, we've already said hello to you, but also wants to know, what do you get? Mark McNish is here, says, hello all, hi Nick. My lick library watch list has exploded. I'm focusing on rhythm lessons just to narrow it all down. Now, this is a common question, so I'm going to take a second and just address this real quick. For you guys who are lick library subscribers, if you should be, because you get all of your GI Plus lessons on there as well, all the lessons that we've been sharing on these streams for the last couple of years. That's on there too. I think it's the biggest and best tuition site in the world. I would say that I work for them, so biased. Anyway, the point with this is if you are unsure about where to go with your lick library learning journey, let's say, just send us a message and we'll help. We have people on team, specifically Stu Shields, but also myself. We're around just to talk you through the options that are available. So if you want some help deciding on what to focus on, hit us up. We'd love to hear from you. Timothy Appling says, Nick, it's 91 degrees in Key Largo right now, in the shade. Right, okay, that is properly hot. I would burst into flames down there. Sarah Godslayer says, what's in the gig bag? Condoms to do water balloon fights with the other bands. No comment. Deb Van Dugerson says, getting hot in the desert southwest. For sure. Manowar had some different kind of some different gear in the 1980s, not so music related, by the way, for sure. Right? When we can't comment on that, but hey, man. John McGuigan is tuning in from France. John, if you happen to be in France, and if you happen to be anywhere near the Brittany region of France, we're playing at the Courts of Chaos Festival this Friday, which is what has spurred on this particular stream. So hey, man, you want to come and see us? Come see us at Courts of Chaos. It'd be great. Anyway, so let's get down to the meat of today's stream, which is the subject of what is in your gig bag. And I'm going to get my gig bag for this one. So, gig bag in question is over here. Again, today's stream is brought to you by Ciari Guitars. You may be wondering why I was playing my PRS in the intro. Well, let me talk to you about what's going on with this. So, I am traveling on Thursday for my first of a series of summer festivals that we have this year. They're all overseas. So if I was traveling domestically, if I was playing in the UK, or I was doing a run where we were driving, let's say, my gear would be somewhat different to the gear that I'm going to take if I'm flying, which is what we're doing for these next few gigs. Now, flying with guitars is always it's a scary procedure, let's say. So my approach to this has been slightly controversial because a lot of folks just want to walk on with the guitar. My approach has always been to take a case that is super protective and that will withstand going in the hold. I have such a case, and this guitar is going in the case. This is my main stage guitar for Blitzkrieg. Why have I chosen this guitar over all of the guitars that I have? Why haven't I chosen, for example, my number one, which is my Maybach Convair? Well, I'm not flying with this guitar because this guitar is one of a kind. So that is out of the question. If it gets lost, if it gets broken, irreplaceable. So this guitar is a PRS CE24. It's from, let's get the date right, 2006. Good era for these CE24s. Let's say it was still made to the spec of the core line. It just has a bolt-on neck, as you can see here. So the reason I've chosen this one is if, heaven forbid, something would happen to this guitar's neck, I could replace the neck and all would not be lost. If I took something like the Magic PRS, this guy here, the red Custom 22, something happens to this neck, it's foobarred, because this neck is a set neck, so you can't just replace the neck. Whereas with this, yes, it would suck, but I could have a new neck made. Also, there are a few things that I've done to this guitar to make it a really good heavy metal flying guitar. For example, I'll show you the pickups real quick. So the pickups are a set of Devon Townsend Fishman Fluence signature models. This gives me access to some single coil sounds for the classic heavy metal stuff, an active sound for the modern aggressive stuff, and there's kind of an in-between fat single coil tone for everything else. It's a cool guitar, but also something else I want to show you. Because we tend to play in hotter climes, I've also sanded the neck back. So the neck has been sanded so it's not sticky. Even though maple necks tend not to be super sticky anyway, this does actually need another attack with sandpaper, which I might do before I go away. Now, there are some compromises here, because when you take the finish off the neck, it means it's not going to get sticky under your hand when you're playing, but it can compromise the stability somewhat. So to that end, because necks tend to move, you'll notice all of my guitars have their truss rod covers taken off. This is so that I can access the truss rod in the heat of battle. Oftentimes in festivals, you don't get a great deal of time to sort your gear out. Let's say you get maybe a 15-minute changeover. And this can sometimes be getting off the bus from the hotel to getting on stage. So I don't necessarily have time to sit and explore my guitar's setup intricacies in their fullest. I just need to know that if something's off, it's probably not the bridge, because the bridge doesn't really move. It's probably the neck. I can check the neck relief very quickly, and if I need to, very quickly adjust it. Now, here's a cool one from my friend Set Up by Marshall. My little Ibanez multi-tool has saved me 2 shows in a row. If you gig and don't have one every show, I'd say it's a terrible choice. For sure, 100%. However, what I will also say is multi-tools are a tricky one, because trying to get them on an airplane in carry-on luggage is a nightmare. So the multi-tool that I have goes in the hard case with this guitar. So this guitar is going in the hard case. It's been cased up. Let's imagine it's been taken away by the baggage handlers. Goodbye, guitar. See you later, hopefully. All being well. We're not going through Amsterdam, so it's probably not going to get lost. Who knows? Hopefully not going to get lost. Anyway, long story long, that guitar we've said goodbye to now. So this leaves me with the following. I have a checked bag, so I have my guitar that is checked. I have a checked bag that contains the band's in-ear monitor rig, which I'll show you in a second. That's coming away with me. I've got my phone, so I can show you that. And I also have my personal carry-on. So in my carry-on, this is where the CRE magic comes in. This is the backpack in question. Now, it's quite a big, hefty backpack. There's quite a lot of stuff in it, but it does... I mean, I'm a pretty big, strong guy. I don't mind. I can carry this around. I did used to do this with a mono double gig bag with my guitars in and pack it out with all of this stuff. However, this is way, way, way easier to get on an airplane because it's backpack sized. Nobody's going to take a look at this and go, that needs to go in the hold, sir. It's backpack sized. Dead easy, right? Now, it is reasonably heavy, but that's not a huge deal, right? As long as I can get it in the overhead bins, which I can, because I'm reasonably strong, that's not a problem for me. Now, in this bag is contained everything that I must have to do the gig. This is the must-haves bag. The reason for this is I do not want to let this out of my sight. I don't want to risk this getting lost. Any of this stuff getting lost in transit, in the airplane, the luggage system, because I need this stuff. I need this stuff to do the gig. So this is literally like a gig kit in one. There is nothing in here that I could do the gig with this bag. That's all I'll say, right? That's all I'll say. So let's take a look what's in here. First question though is Deadman Doogie Van Dugerson says, how many CREs can Nick deadlift? Well, if anybody can look up the weight of a CRE guitar in kilos, I will tell you. So you guys who have keen Google foo, if you let me know what the weight of a CRE guitar is in kilos, I will tell you how many of those I could theoretically deadlift. So anyway, let's take a look at what's in the bag. So I've got my third camera set up here, not on a foot switch, but it means that we can see what's going on this way. You can also get a little bit of a look at some more of the amps that are in my studio and this pile of boxes of things that I'm yet to do. This is my to-do box list. Now, let's start by taking a look at the interior pockets in our bag, because this is where the magic kind of happens. So, I'm going to start by unclipping this. This is the official CRE backpack, by the way. So you guys can see there's a CRE Guitars logo. That's the official backpack. So, if we yank this out, let's pop this open. This is the interior of said backpack. I'm going to move my mouse and my keyboard here so I'm not going to break anything. The first thing in here is this little mono guitar tick. This is the bag within the bag, and inside of this bag is all of my rig, so to speak. But we're going to get rid of that first of all, because there's something else in here that's kind of fun. Within this, got a pedal, talk to you about that in a second. We also have the aforementioned CRE guitar. Now, this, if you can believe it, contained within this bag, just shift that pedal for a second, is a guitar strap and also a guitar. Genuinely, right? There is a guitar in this backpack. Let me assemble it for you. This is our CRE guitar if you haven't seen it already. We lift the neck up, perform a couple of pre-flight checks. Let's say, I'm gonna pop this up, slide it in, and there we go. One fully functioning guitar. So this guitar is going to be the spare guitar for the gig. Now the reason for this is I need certain things. Don't need, but I would like certain things for my gig, and that PRS fulfills all of those things. It has 24 frets, it has active humbuckers. I'm very familiar with the guitar, and this guitar, for all it looks super cool, it's quite small. I feel like the PRS for me is a little more of a pose this guitar, but I wouldn't be upset at having to play this guitar personally. Also, that guitar is black. This guitar is a pretty cool color, but black is the heavy metal color. So this guitar is the spare guitar. The reason for this is if something goes wrong with your guitar and you don't have the means to fix it quickly or the ability to fix it quickly, the best thing you can do to carry on with the show is to grab a spare. I will always try and take 2 guitars with me. But also this means, should, heaven forbid, my main guitar get lost or get damaged in transit, this CRE guitar is the guitar that I'm going to play. I'm going to play this guitar on stage, and it is good. It's gold, right? Plays great, feels great. We've done reviews of these guitars before. You've seen me use this guitar in a previous What's in Your Backpack. You will also notice, eagle-eyed among you, no truss rod cover. Because once again, the thing that tends to move when you go from one climate to another is the guitar's truss rod. So we're going to set this aside. The CRE guitar lives in a bag, which is this bag, which lives inside of my backpack. That's its gig bag. I haven't put anything in the front pocket besides the Allen key. And I keep that in there just so I know that I always have the appropriate Allen key for this guitar. So this comes out of the bag and that goes into the gig with me. Let's just set that aside. Now, you also had within this first pocket, let's just go back to this camera where you guys can see what's going on here, the rig, so to speak. So let me just zoom in here. This is the rig. Oh yes, this strap, by the way, this strap goes in the CRE gig bag. Now normally, this strap has my wireless attached to it, which is this guy. I'm still using a Line 6, a Line 6 G70, I want to say. And there's a little wireless pocket that goes in there. I'm not taking this wireless with me. I'm taking a smaller wireless that we'll talk about in a second. So we're setting that aside. But this strap rather, has these Schala strap locks on. Schala, depending upon how you pronounce it. I think our German friends call it Schala, but even still, these are the strap locks in question, right? These are my Schala strap locks. Now, I have fitted all of my guitars, every single one of them, with these same strap locks. So with the CRE guitar, you will notice, let me pull this up here and I'll throw this camera real quick. You'll notice that this guitar I've also outfitted with the same strap locks as my other guitar. So I have one strap to rule them all. That's coming with me. I have a spare strap that lives in my guitar case. So I always take a spare strap with me. That lives in the hard case that's going in the hold that the PRS is in. The reason for that is this is the main strap. I want this strap with me. So if I turn up the gig and I'm playing the CRE, which I have no problem doing, great sounding guitar, we'll play it in a second, I at least have my main strap, which is the right height. It's leather, it's comfy, it feels nice. I have an adjustable strap that I can just tuck up and use if I have to, but this is the one. And these strap locks will work on either guitar, and it's a comfortable height for either. What I can also do, should I wind up playing a guitar that's maybe a little bit weird, I've left this extra little bit of length so that I can play the guitar a bit lower if I end up playing something like a flying V, let's say, for example. That's something that's on the cards. So anyway, within our backpack, we have this guy. This is a mono guitar tick. Now this fits inside of the CRE backpack with the CRE guitar as well. So there's a guitar and a rig inside our backpack. I would normally strap this to the front of my mono dual gig bag, which is what I would do if I was playing domestically, and a good portion of the rig lives in here, but I wouldn't have my rig. I'd have my pedal board in my pelly case, etc, etc, etc. I don't have the luxury of doing that on this run. I have to take this stuff with me. And also, if I'm flying, the last thing I want is my rig to get lost. I need my sounds. So within here, let's take a look at what's going on. So, shut this off. What do we have? Well, first of all, let's go to the camera so you guys can see what's happening. So in this bag, we have, first things first, a vocal microphone. So this is rule number one of playing festivals, of playing places where there is a shared rig, shared PA system. Always, always, always take your own vocal mic, right? And make sure your vocal mic is a good one. This is a Sennheiser E954. No engineer in their right mind is going to sniff at this one. It's a good mic. It's in good condition in terms of working condition. It's been through the ringer, as you can probably see, but that's fine. The reason for this is that shared vocal mics are deeply, deeply unhygienic, right? Now, I am not a germaphobe, but I've caught everything from colds to cold sores from shared microphones. Take your own vocal mic. Trust me on this. This is non-negotiable. So, Iron Man's ice cream, this is coming with me. And I'm going to set that aside. We'll put it down on the floor for now. I also have a guitar stand. This is this is pretty cool, right? I like this a lot. This is the Hercules foldable guitar stand. So, the reason I've got this one is it folds up and fits in my travel gig bag, and I normally have two of these in the front pocket of my my mono double gig bag. So I have one of these because I'm probably just gonna have one guitar on stage. I would imagine I'll have the CRE in its bag side stage if the PRS makes it there okay, which I hope it will. You don't know if there's going to be a guitar stand at the gig. You cannot rely on there being a guitar stand, but I have my own, and it folds up. It's really light. It folds up and goes in here. I'm only taking one. I would normally take two. It's not the best stand in the world in terms of the best looking or even the most robust, but it does the job. And more importantly, it's light and it folds. On to the actual rig then. So we'll put that aside for now. On to the actual rig. So let me show you what's in here. It's quite simple. I am traveling with the following, right? So I have a Neural DSP Quad Cortex. The reason I have the Quad Cortex is many-fold, right? First things first, the thing I like about it the most is that it's small. It's small, it fits in one of these guys. So if you compare this to something like a Helix or something like the equivalent Fractal, this is very small. So it fits in this guitar tech. It's easy to travel with. It is a little bit on the heavy side, but that also means it's quite robust. However, the other thing I like about this in particular is that I can profile, I think they call it capture. I can capture my Victory amps, which is what I like to use in the studio. So I have captures of the Super Kraken, of the Super Sheriff. I have some Duchess captures for my clean sounds. I don't use any of the built-in sounds. I only really use the captures, what I have made. I've also noticed that I've lost one of the hinges from this, but I'll address that in a second. So this little protective cover, my friend John Swinglehurst makes these. I've lost one of the little pins that goes through the hinge, but that's quite easy. I can figure that out myself, I'm sure. So this just keeps things nice and protected. So this is the rig. This is what I'll be using for all of the sounds. The way I'm going to run this is I'm going to run the two XLRs out to our in-ear monitoring system, and from here we will split that out to the front house. The front house guy gets these. I'm also going to run cabs on stage. The reason for this is for the off chance that our in-ear rig doesn't arrive, I'm going to run cabs on stage because I need to be able to hear it. And given my my druthers, my kind of like order of preference would be in-ears, cabs on stage, modeler through wedges, right? This is just not a pleasant experience. So we're running cabs on stage. The other reason for this is our singer, Brian, doesn't like in-ears. He's an old school guy. He likes cabs on stage. So to this end, we're going to run cabs on stage out of here. We have a cable kicking around for that. I also have another cable right here, which is the emergency guitar cable. Now, normally I'd use a wireless here, but this is the emergency guitar cable. The reason it's pink is because I'll be able to find it if all else goes wrong. If this is down at the side of my pedals, I'll be able to find this very easily. And nobody's going to pinch it. It's pink, right? It's not a black cable that somebody's going to pinch. It's a big, long, pink cable, and I like that. So the only other thing we have in here, in addition to my, my microphone, which you should always have, is this guy. This is the power supply for the Cortex. Now, normally, this would live on a pedal board with a Chiox power supply and all that sort of stuff. We're not messing with that. Before I go away, I'm going to replace this power supply here. I'm going to replace that with the European version. So this is an adaptable power supply. I'll replace that with the European power adapter so I don't have to mess around with converters. So that's in the main pocket, but also, show you in here very quickly. Let's keep taking a peek. Also in here, we've got the following. Headstock tuner, right? The reason for this is redundancy, right? If my Cortex doesn't work for some reason, at least I have a tuner. Right, headstock tuner, always stay there. That's the Snark Air, it's my favorite. I also have my in-ears. I'm using a set of Universal Fit X Vive in-ears. These sound great, they feel good. The reason I'm using these ones and not some kind of custom molded set is not a question of quality, but I just lose. I lose in-ears and I stand on them and they get broken. So I kind of resolved not to buy any more expensive in-ears, but that's my in-ear set. They go in there. We also have a spare set of in-ears, spare set of Universal Fit for everyone who needs ears. They've got a backup, so we have at least one spare pair. If all else fails, they'll go to the drummer. I also have, last thing, my in-ear pack. So the pack lives here just so everything is together. This will be the pack that I'll use at the gig, and it's going to connect to our in-ear monitoring system, which I'll show you in a second. So that's coming away with me. We've got a lot of love for X5 in the comments. Transparent has some X5 mini pedals. I think they're great. They're a really cool company. We're going to put this back so don't forget it. And that is the rig, so to speak. So that's my rig. I'm going to repack my microphone. And I'm also going to repack my guitar stand so I don't forget it. Let's just pop them back in there. There's the rig. This may need a little bit more careful packing because it is quite a snug fit. I'll just set that aside for now. That's fine. We'll just pop it down here. Goodbye rig. Down it went with a crunch. Now you might be wondering, hold on a second, there was a pedal and you hid the pedal from us, Nick. Well, I did, because the pedal is this. This is the venerable Victory V1 Kraken pedal. Well, hello, there we go. Where is my camera? Let's find the right camera. Here we go. This is the right camera. This is the venerable V1 Victory Kraken V1 pedal is the word, right? V1 Kraken. The reason I have this pedal in particular is this pedal is the pull me out of a mess pedal. And I say a mess because there have been occasions, touch wood, when for whatever reason the Quad Cortex hasn't gotten on with the power at the venue and it's just refused to play ball. If that is the case, I can run this into the clean channel of an amp and survive the gig. So this always comes with me as a redundancy. So my redundancies are redundancy guitar, redundancy pedal, and also the headstock tuner. I can get through the gig with just those three things. They'll be fine, right? I have a power supply that goes along with this that I always take with me too. Little Boss power supply. So that is the rig and the guitar. Let's talk more about what's in the bag. Timothy Appling is saying you must have been a Boy Scout because you are well prepared. Well, I'd like to think I'm pretty well prepared, but it's more that I've just done this a bunch of times. When you've done enough flying gigs, you learn what to take with you and what not to take with you. So next up, let's take a look at the front pockets on our backpack. So we'll plug this CR in a second as well because it's super cool. So the first thing to show you is one of the packets in here. Pockets in here rather. This contains the following. It contains my slide. Now I'm a brass slide kind of guy, right? But let me tell you, getting brass slides, specifically the brass slides that I like to use, which look like this, right? This business, getting that through customs is not fun. If somebody wants to look in your bag and they see this, good luck explaining that, especially if it's in a language that you don't speak. So just take this, right? This is the glass slide. It's not my favorite, but this is coming with me because the brass slide, unfun. Now, what else do we have in here? Let's take a peek inside this little accessory pocket. Here I have my wireless, which I normally keep in the rig. I don't know why it's in here for the occasion. Now, the wireless for this particular gig is this guy. This is the Positive Grid Spark Link, which the box for is kicking around over here. You can expect a review of that upcoming, goodbye box, an upcoming edition of Guitar Interactive magazine. So the Spark Link is a really simple wireless system. It basically just it's a transmitter and a receiver, but it's proven super reliable. I've tested this at rehearsal. I'm actually going to slip this in the rig rather than having it up in here. So that's going in there. That's my wireless for the day. One end goes in guitar, one end goes in the Cortex. Is it my favorite wireless? No, but it's really small and it makes it really easy for me to travel with. In addition to this, I also have the following. I have a Fender Mustang Micro. This is for warming up. This is the amp backstage. This is the backstage rig, let's say. So I will plug this into my in-ears. I'll use my in-ears and I'll use this. I'll already have my in-ears on. Plug that in, turn it on, and I can warm up backstage, which is crucial because you gotta arrive on the stage warm. You can't walk out on a festival stage and start warming up. It's not how it works, right? You have to arrive on the stage hot and ready to go. This is charged, this is ready. That lives in there. Last but not least, in this particular pocket, a torch. This is the stage torch. This is one given to me by my friend Eric. It's called a Shadow Hawk, and it's super cool. It has this kind of focus light thing. Can't really show you on the camera because it'll blind you, but if we go on the back wall here, you can see it can be really tightly focused, really wide open. It's a cool torch, but also in addition to this torch, I have a second torch. This is the digital baggage scale. Digital baggage scale. Pop this on, it's also a torch. I'm sure I can make it a torch. I think you have to press and hold to make it a torch. I don't know, but it is a torch too. Who knows? The most important part of this is the baggage scale. The reason for this is we have baggage limits that we're dealing with. And if I'm bringing stuff back, let's say I've maybe picked up a couple of t-shirts, I need a baggage scale, right? This travels with me all the time. It also means that should there be any question about what my bag weighs, I can just prove it to people. I can go, oh, I've got a baggage scale. There you go. Pop. It also happens to be a tape measure. Not super useful, but it's fun. So that's a little fun Amazon find. I also have within this pocket, this is so much stuff, right? It's unbelievable amounts of stuff. There's my slide. I also have my iPad and I have the band's Mac. So this is my iPad and this is the band's MacBook Pro. So this is my old MacBook Pro that I've resigned to live usage. This runs our in-ears and it also runs the click tracks that we play too. We play the clicks. We don't have a great deal of actual playback coming through the clicks, but we do sync the time. We sync our program changes via MIDI. Just makes for a better show. It means I'm not tethered to my pedal board. So we sync the program changes. The iPad is there so I can do a bit of work on the airplane. And also means that I can set up and control my in-ear mix without having to get back to this laptop to do it. So they live here, they stay with me, right, at all times. Now, we're almost done with the contents of the actual backpack, but a couple of last little things. We have a stash pocket at the front. The stash pocket is where I would keep all of my personal items. Now this is on the top, and this is where I keep my travel documents. So I would keep my passport, I'd keep my boarding passes, my itineraries. I'm not going to show them today because I don't want to show my passport in a stream, but I also keep my sunglasses. For example, I would keep my AirPods, which I didn't have in there. I keep my car keys, just in case, because you drive to the airport, you park at the airport, charging cables, etc. They all live in the stash pocket at the top for ease of access. Don't hide these deep in the bowels of your backpack. You don't want to be messing with that on the airplane. Last but not least, in the front pocket down here, we have, can you believe all this is coming in one backpack? Fresh pack of Duracells for the wireless, all that sort of stuff, and my in-ears. Several packets of spare strings. And this guy, this is the D'Addario clipper and string winder. The reason for this is if I have to change a string in a hurry, this will save my bacon, but it's also the least threatening looking pair of clippers that you've ever seen in your entire life. This is a very inoffensive piece of equipment in terms of how people are going to perceive it at an airport. And what I mean by this is, like, if you go to the airport and you're brandishing something like, let's say something like these, you're not getting these on an airplane because you could conceivably use those to attack the pilot and, you know, divert the airplane to Disneyland or wherever. You don't want to do that. You do not want to be that guy who has the weird stuff that gets put in, it gets destroyed at the airport, especially like this slide. We're not doing that. So what we have instead is we have this. This is the one and only tool because nobody's taking that off you. It's dead simple, dead easy. Clip the strings, wind the strings, etc. Now, I've gone for this gig, because we're really nerding out here, a multi-pack of Ernie Ball 10s. And these are just regular Slinkies. The reason for this is I may need to just replace one string, and these are individually packaged. So I can easily pop them open and replace just the one string. If I have to replace the one string multiple times, heaven forbid, I have at least a couple of these. So there we go, right? Bop this in here. Away you go, right? Magic. That is the contents of the backpack, apart from one last bit that I haven't showed you. Let's go to this camera. This is one of the most important tips that I can potentially give you for going away. Friends, put your stage clothes in your carry-on luggage. Stage clothes go in the carry-on. So we have black on black on black. We got some flares, we got the scarf, we've got the waistcoat. The stage clothes go in the carry-on, because I would rather, honestly, truthfully, maybe call me a poser, right? And feel free to call me a poser in the comments. But I would much rather arrive at the gig and have no guitar and have to borrow a guitar than arrive at the gig and have no clothes and have to go on the clothes that I carry, that I arrived in. Because I'm going to be turning up in a sweaty band t-shirt, a hoodie, and a pair of joggers or a pair of shorts. I'd much rather at least look halfway decent. I can play on most guitars because it's my job. This is not a flex, it's just something that I have to do. I'm a guitar reviewer, so I can play on most guitars, provided somebody has a guitar that is at least in tune. We're good, I can survive the gig. I need my stage clothes. Pack your stage clothes. So, to recap, let's go back over the whole thing one more time. We have batteries, strings, tools in here. We have the Ciari guitar. We have the laptop. We have all of our personal effects. We have everything we need to do string changes. We have huge bags of picks that go in there too. We have spare strings, spare rig in the form of the Victory pedal. We have the minimalist rig, the tiny wireless, because we're trying to travel light here. We have the Ciari guitar. We have all that stuff. That all goes on my back in this backpack, which is, if you think about it, fairly amazing. And it also has within it the guitar, which I can use for the gig, right? Let's actually play the guitar real quick. So let's see. I'm going to plug this in. It's a cool guitar now. I haven't checked if this is tuned, so let me just tune it real quick. I would probably use my headstock tuner for this if I had to, because you got to have a headstock tuner. You know, people will moan that they don't look pro, but if you're working on a budget, got to have one. There we are, one Ciari guitar. I can do the gig on that. I can do the gig on that. There we go. So there's a Ciari guitar. That is, let's not forget, by the way, our friends at Ciari have sponsored not only my tour, but they've also sponsored this stream. So if you want to get your own Ciari Ascender, which, by the way, in case you missed, folds in half and goes in a gig bag and comes back out of tune. Look at this. Fold the guitar away. Oh my God, that goes in your backpack. And then out it comes. Bosh, let's perform some checks. I've got spare strings, but it's okay. Perform some quick checks. Bang, it goes back together. I might actually do that. I might do the folding on the last song. At the end, I might pretend I've broken it in half in a heavy metal fury. So that's what's in my backpack. The Ciari guitar is killer. It's super, super cool. Let's take a look at what's going on. Got my phone for this. What's going on in the carry-on baggage, because we haven't talked about that. So we have two carry-on bags going on here. So my drummer doesn't take a carry-on bag. So the in-ear rig, which I pack and maintain, goes in under his name. He packs that. He inspects it, by the way, friends at airports. He packs it and repacks it himself. My carry-on bag, my checked bag, he has that as his checked bag. My checked bag is my guitar. So we've got checked bags. All of my must-have for the gig is in the carry-on, but in here, Let me show you on this. I have a little app on my phone called Filmic Legacy. I'm going to show you down here what's going on in our, where are you? Let's just find the thing. There we go. Hopefully you should see this on my phone now, in our checked bag. There we go. Hooray. Excuse the fact that I need to hoover. I'll address that in a bit, but I have been packing. So if I flip this open, this is a bit of a mess, but this is the band's in-ear rig. This is what we use for monitoring and hearing ourselves on stage. Now, what you'll notice here is I also have down here my Victory V4 Kraken. Now, this is my amp, and this is the amp that I'll use to power the cabs on stage. You might be wondering why I didn't use that as my redundancy, why that wasn't well, just use that. Like, just use that on the stage, and that's your redundancy thing. Why you've got the V1 pedal? Well, the reason is this might not actually make it to the gig. There's been occasions where this has gotten lost in transit, this whole literally this whole suitcase. Touch wood, it won't. We can play without our in-ears if we have to, but we'd rather not. So that's that, right? That lives in here. Let's just pop that up here. I could use that as my redundancy, but I'd rather have the pedal just in case. Also, down here we have an XLR Snake that I am using for running my quad cortex and my vocal mic to our splits. Also, I want to show you this. This is a really clever little bit of kit from our friends at designercable.com. Now, this is a MIDI over XLR converter. Now, I normally use Pedal Snake for this stuff, but it's just XLRs. So I'm using this MIDI over XLR cable here. This basically lets me run my program changes, which are done via MIDI, over this XLR Snake. Now, this doesn't go in the hand luggage because if this IEM rig doesn't arrive, then this is no use to me. So it goes in here because we can afford to have it arrive. If this doesn't arrive, then it doesn't matter if that arrives. So we have on our IEM rig, I'll show you this very quickly as well, we have a split snake that goes to the engineer, and on the back I have my wireless IEM. I'm in stereo. This is very small and very, very, very cobbled together, but you'll see what's going on here. I'm going to flip this around and show you the front because it's a bit of fun. Why not? Let's try that round. I've got a little bit of foam on the edge to protect things in case they get hurt in transit, but I'll show you this very quickly. Pop that off. This is our IEM rig. Now, a lot of folks do these kind of travel IEM rigs. To me, they're not travel IEM rigs. If it's greater than for you, it's not a travel IEM rig. Within here, we have splits for bass, guitars, both my guitars, all of the vocals. We have two X5 IEM transmitters, which are built in. That's for my co-guitar player, Alan, my bass player, Liam. We have all of this stuff going through this Thomann own brand splitter. We went for that one over the Behringer one because it's a little bit more robust, but not super heavy. We also have here's a little fancy trick. That's the antenna from my Shure IEM rig, which is mounted around the back, but the antenna's around the front, so I get line of sight. We also have, kicking around the front, some charger cables for the X5 stuff. They're built in. We have the connectors to our laptop, which is USB. We also have the MagSafe, and this is an Ethernet over Thunderbolt cable, which means we always have an Ethernet connection. Always have an Ethernet connection to the laptop. So yeah, that is that's the carry-on. Oh, the carry-on, the checked bag. So that's the in-ear rig. That goes in the aircraft's hold. We cross our fingers that it arrives. It's got an air tag in with it, so we can see if it's gone to Belgium or wherever. Stranger things have happened. But crucially, this is the important bit. This IEM rig in this suitcase with this V4 Kraken pedal amp and all of the associated cables comes in at 21.5 kilos. 21.5 kilos. This is important because overweight baggage is anything over 22 kilos. So we are literally just the right side of overweight baggage. I have my own baggage scale to prove it, which means we don't have to pay overweight baggage on anything. And overweight baggage is expensive on most airlines. It can be anything from £12 to £20 per kilo up to 32 kilos both ways. Really expensive stuff. So if you're traveling with in-ears, it is in your best interest to try and keep things down as light as possible. You'll notice as well, by the way, that we don't have lids on this rack. There are no lids on this rack because I'm not putting the lids on because the lids weigh stuff. Not interested in that. Now, Marcin has raised a very good question. He says, 2 bags of gear and no underwear. I respect that. Well, you know what? I'll tell you why. Because the other personal items, such as clothes, underwear, all that sort of stuff, I can buy underpants if I have to. It's no problem. I can find some at the airport. But all that stuff goes in and around this guitar in its case. So this guitar is in its hard case, but packed around it in the space around the neck and around the back of the headstock and all that sort of stuff is all of my spare clothes, my underwear. If I generally will just buy deodorant and toothpaste and things like that my toothbrush goes in here, but I'll generally just buy that stuff at the airport and just use it, a little travel mini. That's the easiest thing in the world to do, or it'll fit in my backpack if I have to. But yeah, so that, friends, that is what goes in my backpack. And that is, if you can believe it, a full travel rig, literally a full rig, everything up to and including a speaker cabinet. Bear in mind we have a 180 watt power amp here for the guitars stuff, modeler, 2 guitars, all the spare strings, stage clothes, in-ear monitor rig, the whole 9 yards. We got all that stuff in a handful of bags, literally like nothing, right? So there you go, folks. That's what goes in my backpack. But I want to know from you, what's in your backpack, right? Is there anything cool that I've missed? Is there anything in here that you think I should be taking to the gig? Let me know. I would love, love, love to hear from you. But before we do that, we are going to turn our attention. But several of them, we're going to answer them as we go. But the first question, here's a great one, set up by Marshall. A multi-tool is usually available at most music stores. Extremely important tool. Totally agree, but that goes in the hard case because they won't let me take that on the airport. My friend Connor says, yeah, put clothes in the hard case and a couple of packs of coca noodles. It's packing material you can eat. You are a genius, right? You are totally doing that, right? That is super smart. We're going to arrive at a hotel at about midnight on Thursday, maybe a little later, and there may not be anywhere to eat. So I'm going to take some noodles. Really, really good stuff. I like that a lot. That is super interesting. Response Audio says, wow, load of gear for such a lightweight. To be honest, the backpack's pretty heavy, but I don't mind. I'm pretty strong. It's all good. Marcin says, tons of spare cables. You never know when your bass player comes and asks to borrow one, for sure. However, you can usually rely on there being cables at a major festival or things like that, like just generic items. There will be jack-to-jack cables, XLRs, that sort of thing. We take our own XLRs and everybody's responsible for their own. And to make sure that I don't have any with me, but much like the pink guitar cable, our XLRs are a really horrible shade of purple so that nobody steals them. So on airports, says Cowcat, years ago, police used to sniff at my Easy Fret bottle in my guitar case. I can believe that, right? I can believe that. It's a weird and wonderful thing. So loads of stuff. I think it's a pretty comprehensive flying rig. I'm looking forward to taking it out there. We're going to move on to Cracker Tom's question, which is, are there any must-have IRs around for his new Headrush pedal board? Well, for any friends who don't know what we mean by IRs, there are several out there. I'm going to show you some of my favorites, and I'll scroll through a bunch of them as we go. So I may just turn my phone back on and show you what I'm actually using here. I'm just going to quickly retune this guitar because I have folded it in half in the meantime since we last used it. Let me just get rid of some gack so you can see what's going on. This is a working studio, so it's a little on the crowded side, but let me show you this real quick. So the way I run my IRs is I run my IRs not with this kind of Pepsi Max, but I run them with this guy. This is a Boss Waza tube amp expander. I use this to load my IRs. I use it to load down all of my amps. So that's what you're hearing when we're listening to this. I'll turn the EQ off as we go. My favorite IRs are the Owen Hammer. IRs. I really, really like them. I like the Celestian IRs a lot, and I'll use them a lot in post. They're really, really great. But for me, for playing live, the Ownhammer IRs are the one. And let me walk you through a few of my favorites. So the R Evolution bundle is the one that I'm using, which is actually an end-of-life product right now, so you can get it on sale. And there are just unbelievable amounts of cabs in there. But let me show you some of them and some of the difference they make. I'm going to load up the Tube Amp Expander editor software, and we'll use the CRE guitar for this because it's here and it sounds absolutely fantastic. I might just take this, you know. I might not bother with a hard case. Monstrous. So anyway, let me walk you through a few of my favorites. I'm going to turn the EQ and the compression off of this. I also have a little bit of an EQ and compressor on my solo sound on the Tube Amp Expander, but for my recording sounds, don't bother. I'm also going to give you some tips for how to get the best out of some IRs. I'm going to leave the room mics on for this. So there is I'll just show you this very quickly. I shall hide myself real quick. There's a streaming software. We'll just move that up there so we don't get an exception going on here. But very quickly, within our Tube Amp Expander, hopefully you guys can see that. Please come into focus. There we go. There's the software. I could just screen share, but I've got my phone in my hand, so I'll show you that right now. We got some responses from Liam. He's writing songs in D standard, apparently, if you can believe that. So yeah, we've got the room mics, so we're going to leave those on, but I'm going to turn off the compressor and the EQ. So let's scroll through some of my favorites. This is the Marshall GNR, which is greatly neutral response. Some of my favorites, I really like Marshall Fat, as I've labeled it. This is the Fat blend. Really fun to run live, but we can also get the 57. A lot more of that classic bite going on. I've got a couple of Royer blends in here. There's a 57 and a 121. Here's the same blend, but this time on a Marshall cab with vintage 30s. And if I have it, here is a similar blend on a Mesa cab with vintage 30s. With the Mesa cab, I have a Fredman blend. I really like Fat. I think that's the one, personally. So let's go back to there. That's the Greenback Marshall with Fat, but we can also go to the Greenback Orange cab they have with the same Fat blend. If that's a little bit too fat for sounding for you, we can go to just 57. That's a sound a little more akin to the sort of thing I'd record with, but probably wouldn't necessarily use that live. It's a little bit on the brash side, but it sounds great in a mix. Very, very cool. That's some of my favorites, let's say, but here's the thing for you. I'm going to suggest to you that in addition to the IRs, what you do with the IR in terms of EQ is also going to be very important. So let me just find myself again so I can see these comments. Yeah, in terms of EQ, the EQ is pretty important too. So you know what, I think I'll actually just share the screen real quick and I'll show you. So yeah, why not? We weren't necessarily preparing for that, but I'll just do it anyway. So give me a quick second. Let's share window. What's a Tube Amp Expander? Okay, so here you can see the Tube Amp Expander editor. Hopefully you guys can see that okay. If it's a little small, don't worry, because we're going to be doing some stuff with the EQ. So I'm going to throw the EQ on here. and there are a few things that we do with the EQ that are, or a few things that I do with the EQ that are maybe non-standard. So it's common practice. Let me just flat this very quickly. It's common practice with EQ, with IRs, to roll off the high end. I generally don't do this. I generally don't like to roll the high end out. So let's say we're going through the Greenback 57 cab. I'm going to knock this EQ on. Now, rather than me go... In fact, let's see if I can do this in the global EQ. That might be even better. Yeah, we'll do it in the global EQ. Why not? So I'll turn the global EQ. It's already on. I've got a 50 hertz low cut. Let's knock that off. I just have that on as a you know, I never record any lower than that. I sometimes turn it off with a baritone if I have to. What folks will generally do is they'll take a high cut and start to roll it down to tame the fizziness of the cab, let's say. For my money, the fizziness of the cab lives somewhere down. Well, let's turn it down till the fizziness goes away. Maybe around here. Versus this. Pay attention to this control here. So that's about a 5K cut. Now that can work, but sometimes what we end up with is kind of an airless sort of sound by doing this, like an airless kind of tone where there's no openness because we've cut out all the high end. It's my contention that what we probably want, rather than a high cut to kill some of the fizziness, is a notch in the high mids. So I generally don't high cut. What I'll generally do instead is I'll find a high mid frequency, usually somewhere around 4 and 5K. Now, if you have a more parametric EQ than this one, which has more increments, you can do more with this. You can fine tune it. We're going to use a very tight Q. In this case, I have a Q of 16, which is really, really tight. I'm going to boost this up and I'm going to find the frequency that offends me the most. So turn it up real quick. That's pretty nasty. That fizz is around 5K. That's disgusting. So what I'll do instead is I'll pull out the 5K. Now I still have air and life on the top end of my tone. What I'll do is do a quick comparison here. So instead of I'm notching out that fizzy frequency at 5K. So notching that out about 6 dB, we can compare that to this, which is high cutting at 5K. Very smooth. Also a little bit on the airless side, whereas if we just pull out some 5K, we retain all the crunch on the top end, but we don't lose the air on the top of the tone. So I think a little gentle notch goes a very long way with this stuff. And I think that's probably more important, to be honest, than the IR itself. IRs are important, but you're going to need to EQ them anyway. So that would be my shout. Here's one from Justin Ray. Very good question. It says, going on tour in a relatively small car, 4 band members, looking to minimize everything down to a guitar, multi-effects pedal, and a couple of cables. What pedal would you recommend on a tight budget? It depends on your definition of tight. I'm not 100% sure what it's called, but I know NewX have come up with a really good one. Let me just find it. NewX multi-effects. I'll find the name of the thing. I don't think it's the Cerberus, but let's see. NewX NG something or another. Let's go find the guy. NewX Trident. That's the one. So that's currently available on Guitar for oh geez, it's on sale. Fantastic. Okay, NewX Trident is on sale for £150 off. So it's in the UK, it's currently £350, which is pretty cheap. Another really good shout would be something like a Line 6 HX Stomp, because they're really small, like super small. If you're just using the multi-effects without an amp, probably not going to recommend you get the HX effects because you need amp modeling. So you could do that. I would say if you're going to do that, again, NUX is a good shout. Somebody, Eric Warrington, is chiming in for the NUX NG30. That's a good shout too. Let me just go take a look and see how much that is currently going for, if I can find it. MG30 we've got here, that is currently going for £329. So cheaper again. For me, I think I like the form factor of the Trident a little bit more, but you know, your mileage may vary. I think it's between that or an HX Stomp. I would say that would be my shouts for tight budget stuff, if that makes sense. So anyway, guys, it's been a blast. Thank you so much for letting me show you the contents of my gig bag and the contents of my carry-on luggage and the stuff that I take to a gig overseas. We are going to do another one of these. We'll do another one of these what's in your gig bag things, but it won't be me talking about what's in the gig bag. It'll be somebody very cool and very famous talking about what's in their gig bag. But I'm not going to tell you who it is. You're just going to have to keep your eyes peeled for that. But we have possibly our coolest, in fact, no possible, definitely our highest profile guest to date coming on to talk about this stuff. Keep your eyes peeled. It is coming. I won't say any more about who it is, but some of the really cool guests we've had in the past, in case you guys may have missed it. We have had Josh Smith on the stream talking about stuff. We have had Jared James Nichols on stream talking about stuff. We've had Sam Bell. Let's not forget the legendary Sam Bell. But we got a really special guest coming, and I won't tell you who it is, but keep your eyes peeled. If you haven't done so already, make sure you give the video a like on your way out. Give us a subscribe on whatever channel you happen to be watching on. Check out CR Guitars, who've been kind enough to sponsor this stream and supply me with this cool instrument. This is not my guitar. This cool folding instrument that I'll be taking away with me. They've been kind enough to loan it to me. I'm going to play out on the same backing track, but I think I'll play this guitar. Why not? My name's Nick Jennison. This is the Monday Guitar Show. Head to licklibrary.com for lessons. Head to guitarinteractivemagazine.com for gear, news, reviews, interviews, all of the rest of the stuff. Do all the buttons. You know where they are. Share this with your guitar playing friends, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for having us. My name's Nick Jennison for Guitar Interactive Magazine and licklibrary.com. It's the Monday Guitar Show brought to you by CR Guitars. Let us shred. Time to put this guitar away. There you go. Guys, see you next week. Take care of yourselves. Good night. Hi, my name is Nick Jennison, and it's my pleasure to announce that GI Plus, the exclusive lessons from Guitar Interactive magazine, are now included with your Lick Library membership. GI Plus features a whole host of the best players and educators in the world, bringing you exclusive lessons on everything from metal to blues to fusion and everything in between. Want to level up your shred chops? Check out How to Play Fast by Andy James. Or how about Sweep Picking with Rick Graham? Or maybe country's more your bag? Well, how about a full-length country guitar course from Andy Wood? Interested in learning how to play over changes? Well, members get access to hours of exclusive lessons from Fusion Maestro Tom Quayle. Or maybe you want your playing to sound more soulful. Well, who better than Chris Buck to show you how it's done? Members also get access to every lesson ever published in Guitar Interactive magazine, including Michael Caswell's legendary Pro Concepts column. Or maybe you want to learn the secrets of the masters. Well, members get access to over 70 full-length tech sessions where our tutors painstakingly decode the styles of players like David Gilmour, Eddie Van Halen, John Petrucci, Larry Carlton, Slash, Tosin Abasi, Paul Gilbert, and many more. And you get all of this in addition to all of the amazing content on licklibrary.com, which includes note-for-note tuition of over 60 classic albums, weekly lesson uploads, a backing track library, and one-to-one player support. There has never been a better time to sign up than right now.